Hello viewers and welcome to my vlog. This vlog is called Rob Blog, but it is a vlog. And if you're wondering why I call it Rob Blog, well, it is my vlog and I can really just call it whatever I like. So there you go. Well, we're in December. Oh my goodness, time is going to move along very quickly into the holiday season. Well, it is the holiday season now, but you know what I mean? That actual Christmas Day and all the fun between Christmas and New Year's. It's just a lovely time of year, and I'm so glad that you're joining me today. There is actually a new TV show that we watched already, 6, 7, 8 episodes, called Wednesday. It's the character Wednesday Addams from the Addams Family. It's a great little show. And Wednesday Addams, in one of the episodes, they were talking about, I believe they were talking about things like TikTok and Instagram, and they probably Facebook too. And I thought what the writers had her say was wonderful. And she considered things like TikTok, and well, maybe she considers the YouTube channel too. I don't know. But I think mostly Instagram, TikTok, and whatnot. See him say these things to make him feel better. But this is what Wednesday Addams had to say about these social media places. She called them the soul-sucking void of meaningless affirmation. Do you like that, viewers? I do. The soul-sucking void of meaningless affirmation. Social media. That comes from Wednesday Addams. I thought that was quite good. Anyways, it's a good show too, so get a chance to watch that. Ooh, careful of some of the Christmas movies that you watch. I mean, basically, unless you're really soppy, any Hallmark movie is like, no thank you. Can't barely stand it for the first 5 minutes. Even though most of the Hallmark movies, a lot of them are filmed right here in British Columbia. We had one filmed in Duncan near us back a couple of weeks ago. No. Crap movies, American sentiment, more and more. Not going any farther with that today. So the holiday season. Oh, do you like my little friend here? Look at this. I bought this a few weeks ago, and I shouldn't be buying, viewers, because I put 5 boxes of Christmas stuff away and took them to a little shop to be sold for me, and some of them I'm just giving away. And here I am, I bought something new. But isn't this nice? Look at this little reindeer with this lovely little bottle brush tree, and all dressed in white with a little snood kind of around her neck. I'm going to say it is, but his, her, them, they neck. And look at little shoes. Isn't that something? So this is my co-host today. I'm going to call her Marie Reindeer. Don't you think? So Marie's going to sit here. Now, I've been telling you, I've done my vlog, this vlog, Rob Blog, for over a year now. Started in December, a year ago. And last year, I read the entire Christmas story, like 75% of the words. But I am going to go through Dickens' A Christmas Carol again this year, but I'm not going to read quite as much of it. So I'm going to start at the beginning, which is a very good place to start. That's The Sound of Music, something completely different. But let's do a little bit of A Christmas Carol today, a ghost story of Christmas written by Charles Dickens. Oh, and I went by one of the houses in London a few years ago where Charles Dickens lived when he wrote part of A Christmas Story. You can actually take a tour through that house, but we just went along the outside and saw the plaque on the wall. I'm getting off topic here. So, A Christmas Carol, and it is a ghost story of Christmas. Let's begin at the very beginning. Oh, we've been there before too, haven't we? Yes. Thank you for listening, by the way, and don't forget to subscribe. It's down here. Thank you. A Christmas Carol, stave number 1. Well, Marley was dead to begin with. There is no doubt whatsoever about that. The register of his burial, it was signed by the clergyman and the clerk and the undertaker and the chief mourner. Seems pretty good to me. He's pretty much dead with all those signatures, right? Scrooge signed it, and Scrooge's name was good upon change for anything that old Scrooge put his mind to. Yes, Indeedy-Do, ladies and gentlemen, viewers, Marley was dead. Dead as a freaking doornail. Dead. And that's pretty dead. Mind you, I don't mean to say that I know from my own knowledge, though this is Charles talking, that there is particularly something dead about a doornail, but I might have been inclined myself to regard a coffin nail perhaps as the deadest piece of ironmongery in the trade, and indeed I'm sure it would, a nail in a coffin, which is a term that we often use. Well, that's the final nail in the coffin. But the wisdom of our ancestors is in the simile, and my unhallowed hands shall not disturb it. Or the country's done for. Well, the freaking world is done for. So let's just call a nail and be done with it. Therefore, Charles said, please permit me to say once again that Marley was as dead as a doornail. It's pretty plain, isn't it? You can't get much deader than that. Scrooge knew he was dead. Of course he knew he was dead. How could he be otherwise, said Mr. Scrooge. Mr. Scrooge! I like saying Mr. Scrooge. Mr. Scrooge! Well, Scrooge and he were partners for, many, many years. And Scrooge, for some reason, Marley made him his sole executor, his sole administrator, his sole assign, his sole residuary legatee. Don't even know what that means. Legatee, don't know. But he was basically the sole mourner, too. Very sad when you think of it. Folks, this is a ghost story, but it's a little sad, this ghost story, too. Sad in parts. But it's just the way it is, and it's written down, and it's the same every year. That old Mr. Scrooge, he never freaking changes. Well, if you don't know the end of the story, I'm not spoiling it for you. And even Scrooge was not so dreadfully cut up by the sad event, which is Marley's death. But he was an excellent man of business on the very day of Marley's funeral. Oh, he's low life. Low life to be sure. And he solemnized it with an undoubted bargain. Yes. The mention of Marley's funeral brings back to the point where I started from. There is no doubt about it that Marley is dead. I'm telling you that again. This must be distinctly understood. And viewers, you need to understand that Marley is dead, because if you don't understand that, then nothing good can ever come from the end of this story. Yes, and even Charles Dickens said the very same thing, and I'm telling you now, understand that Marley is a goner, or you're not going to be happy and joyful at the end of this story as we get closer to Christmas Eve. So, Scrooge was such a Scrooge that he never even paid for the paint to paint out Marley's name. Yeah, he left Scrooge and Marley up there at the top. That's what it said, Scrooge and Marley. Notice Scrooge's name, Mr. Scrooge. His name is first, and then Marley's name. The firm was known as Scrooge and Marley, and I don't know how Scrooge got his name first. He just did, because he's a creep. Yeah. Sometimes people new to the business called Scrooge, and sometimes they called Scrooge Marley, which was confusing because they're two different people. Well, except for now, of course, because we know Marley is dead. But Marley answered to both names as well. When he was living, of course, he doesn't say too much about it now that he's in that coffin with the lid shut. But you know, that Scrooge, he was a tight-fisted hand at the grindstone. I know some people like that. We all know people who are tight-fisted, right? Scrooge was a squeezing, wrenching, grasping, I don't want to miss any of these words, scraping, clutching, covetous old sinner. Well, don't hold back. Charles, don't hold back. Let's call him what it is. Hard and sharp as flint, from which no steel had ever struck out generous fire. Secret and self-contained and solitary as an oyster. Do you think Charles Dickens went onto the internet into Google to get some of these words? There's an awful lot of words in this book. And the cold within him froze his old features, nipped at his old Scroogey pointed nose, and shriveled his cheek and stiffened his gait. Sounds like Viagra in there, doesn't it? Anyways, nobody ever stopped Scrooge in the street to wish him a good day and say, "Why, my dear Mr. Scrooge, how are you? When will you come to see me?" No, sir, nobody wanted Scrooge over for afternoon hot chocolate before a roaring fire. He was a mean, covetous old sinner. And let's just leave the story where it is. Don't you think, Marie? Let's leave it. Yeah, let's leave it. That was Marie's voice, of course. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into this Rob blog. Again, you can fill out the little, click on the subscribe button. That would help. And join me next time when we'll have other little tidbits of the holiday season, and we will continue with Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, a ghost story of Christmas. Until next time, goodbye, everybody. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you. Happy holidays.